We're looking at the hidden psychology of those people who just seem to carry the weight of the entire world on their shoulders, completely alone, and literally never ask for a hand. If you've ever found yourself wondering why some people absolutely refuse to seek support, well, you're definitely in the right place.
You know exactly who I'm talking about, right? We all know that one unbreakable person. The one who somehow manages to smile through total exhaustion, who patiently sits there listening to everyone else's problems, yet quietly carries their own immense pain without whispering a single word about it. They seem completely unshakable, like almost as if nothing life throws at them could ever actually break them. But as we'll see, psychology tells us a very different story about what's actually happening beneath the surface.
So let's start with section 1, the illusion of strength and the shield of disappointment.
People are constantly admiring their independence, right? We praise their relentless ability to just keep going. But what if that strength isn't actually strength at all? Psychology reveals that this tough exterior, this facade, is very often a really heavy shield. It's a defense mechanism built up from years and years of profound disappointment. And the ironic part? It's used by the exact people who actually need our help the most. They are just suffering in silence out of stubbornness or pride. No, it goes much, much deeper than that.
Moving on to section 2, the roots of silence. This is where the fear really begins.
You see, this behavior usually starts way back in childhood. Maybe they were explicitly told to stop crying, and so they internalize the idea that tears are just a sign of weakness. Then, by the time they hit adolescence, this evolves. It turns into the belief that their feelings are just too much for others to handle. They start to feel like a burden. And finally, by adulthood, it completely solidifies into this rigid, unbreakable rule. Every single problem must be solved alone. Now, these might seem like small moments in a timeline, but they quietly and powerfully rewrite how a person interacts with the entire world.
This ultimately locks in a really painful belief that shadows them right into adulthood. If I ask for help, I'll only become a burden. It dictates their behavior so completely that they hesitate to reach out, even when they're surrounded by loving, supportive people. It's not necessarily that they don't trust their loved ones, actually. It's that they literally no longer believe their own struggles deserve someone else's time or energy. It's pretty tragic when you think about it.
Which brings us to section 3, hyper-independence as survival, adapting to disappointment.
Because on top of those childhood beliefs, well, life happens, doesn't it? Maybe someone they depended on completely just walked away. Or maybe they experienced a deep betrayal right when they were at their absolute most vulnerable. Or maybe, and this is the heartbreaking one, every single time they bravely tried to reach out in the past, no one came to help. After experiencing enough of this kind of disappointment, the human mind does what it does best. It adapts. It makes a quick calculation and decides, okay, relying on others is simply too dangerous.
Psychologists actually have a specific term for this. It's called hyper-independence. And I want to be super clear here. This is not a choice born out of arrogance or some excessive pride. Not at all. It is a psychological adaptation. It's a learned survival mechanism specifically designed to protect the person against ever feeling that level of potential hurt or disappointment again. It's literal armor for the mind.
So from the outside, society looks at this behavior and totally applauds it, right? We see it as pure confidence and independence. We reward it. But internally, the reality is that this behavior is rooted entirely in survival and fear. It all stems from this quiet, lonely little promise they whisper to themselves. If I never depend on anyone again, no one can ever hurt me. That right there is the driving force. And because of this vow, they transform into the dependable one, the ultimate problem solver, the shoulder everyone else cries on. They spend their entire lives rescuing others, all while secretly drowning themselves.
Let's look at section 4, the prison of identity, or being trapped as the strong one.
This is where society unwittingly traps these individuals in their own archetype. Somewhere along the way, this person becomes known as the strong one. You know, the reliable friend, the responsible sibling, the person who always has everything under perfect control. And at first, this label feels great. It feels like a genuine compliment. But over time, it slowly morphs into a prison built out of impossible expectations. A prison where they begin to believe their only role in life is to give support and never ever receive it.
Because of that constructed identity, admitting they're struggling feels like they are actively disappointing everyone around them. They are absolutely terrified that if they drop the ball or just admit they're faltering even a little bit, they're going to let down everyone who depends on them. So what do? They just keep carrying impossible weights behind a smile that grows heavier and heavier every single day.
This leads us perfectly into section 5, the vulnerability barrier and the threat of openness.
You see, the absolute greatest barrier to asking for help isn't actually independence at all, it's vulnerability.
To ask for help, you have to say the words, "I'm not okay." And for someone who has spent years, maybe decades, hiding their pain, those 3 little words can feel heavier than the pain itself. Because vulnerability once led to heartbreak or embarrassment, the brain literally treats emotional openness as an active threat. Silence becomes infinitely safer than honesty. Smiling is easier than explaining. And pretending becomes far more comfortable than risking another devastating rejection.
But here's the really tragic irony of the whole thing. The people everyone admires for being the strongest are very often fighting the absolute hardest battles in complete and total silence. They aren't looking for attention. They don't want your sympathy. More than anything in the world, they simply want to feel safe enough to believe that someone will actually stay if they finally drop the act, reveal their true struggles, and just tell the truth.
So let's wrap this up with Section 6, redefining true strength and shifting the paradigm.
Basically, society has had it all wrong. Real strength has never, ever been about carrying every single burden alone until you just snap and break. Real strength, it's having the immense, terrifying courage to let someone stand beside you when the weight becomes just too much to bear. It takes profound bravery to drop that shield.
Because here is the universal truth we all need to accept. Every single human being needs support, and every human heart gets tired. Asking for help does not erase your strength. It doesn't invalidate your independence. It simply reminds you that strength was never, ever meant to be a lonely journey.
So, if you're watching this and you see yourself in this explainer, please know this. You do not have to earn the right to be cared for. You don't have to wait until you reach a total breaking point before your pain actually matters. You deserve support just as much as all those people you spend your entire life rescuing. Truly.
And for the rest of us, if someone in your life always claims, "Oh, I'm fine," don't be so quick to believe them. Sometimes the strongest people in our lives aren't looking for us to magically solve their problems for them. They're simply hoping someone will finally notice the deafening silence they've been hiding behind all these years. Seriously, sometimes just one genuine conversation can change their entire life.
Because behind every person who never asks for help might be a deeply painful story they've just never found the courage to tell. So I want to leave you with this final, crucial question to think about today. Who is the strong person in your life hiding behind the silence? Keep an eye out for them. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really encourage you to reflect on this as you go about your week.